Welcome back to day 3 of Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, Series 13 in October of 2023. Our sketch today is Susan by Susan L. And I took this sketch and stretched it and kind of mirror image it to make a 2-page layout. I have tons of photos from the Electrical Light Parade, one of my favorites. And so I am going to highlight the fish and the King Triton and Ursula and the Little Mermaid, all the floats and that from the parade in this layout. From the time I was a very little girl, I just love the Electrical Light Parade. It's a must-see event. It came out to California when we were there, and unfortunately, we were unable to see it when it was in California. But I'm hoping that now that things are settling in a little bit for us, it'll come back to Florida at some point, and we'll be able to go and watch it again. So I went ahead and cut down all my photos into sizes that were smaller but that fit the photo. Like I used the photo as a guide, or the image as a guide of what to cut down. And I had tried it on this white background. I'm not feeling it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm not enjoying, what isn't working. Do I need a different color for the background? And I think that black is going to be it. I don't do a lot of black layouts, but I think again with it being a nighttime parade, this just works. So the title that Susan has is kind of in the middle of her layout, and it almost looks like there's kind of a an open, I don't know, pattern of leaves behind it, and they could be filled in real life, but I just really liked that look. So I went to my stash and found these outlined letters and decided that that would be what I would use. And because I don't have, because there's multiple letters that repeat themselves in this title, I'm very careful of when I place it on my Versamat and when I pick it up with my block, I line the edge of the block up with the bottom of the Versamat so that I'm picking up the letters that are on it perfectly. And now I'm using my T-square, and I'm going to put the bottom of that block right against the T-square, and I know exactly where that is, so that when I do my last set of letters, I've picked them up the same, I can line them up the same, and I know that I'm going to have a straight stamping of that full title. So that's my tip for today on stamping your titles, is just be careful when you line them up on the Versamat that you know exactly where you're picking them up or have a reference point. I struggled with finding the right colors to go with these photos. I kept seeing the blues and the reds and the kind of the purpley pinkish mauve-y from Ursula, and it was like, oh, how can I do that? Well, the holographic silver cardstock was perfect for that. It's by Recollections, and there is a link below the video if you want to buy that. If you do, I will receive a small compensation from Amazon for that. So I have put down the patterns or the pieces of paper, and now I'm using some of my pre-assembled Disney icons. And while you watch me fuss with that of where they go, I will ask if you please subscribe and support this channel with a thumbs up, or you can also go and use the Amazon links to make purchases. That also is a way to support. So I love this Mickey kind of looking up with his chin in his hands. And I decided finally, this is going to be its finally resting place. I'm going to do some journaling down by him. And then I went ahead and added Donald and Daisy. They had the right colors, and also it kind of made a nice diagonal from the top left corner of the left page all the way down and through to the right bottom corner of the right page. Now I lost one of the paper pieces for Minnie's shoes, and because it has that black base, if you've done any Cricut cuts, you know what I'm talking about, that it actually has kind of a scored image, so you know right where the placement of that piece was going to be. So I took my metallic markers, which are great because they are like a pigment based ink or a solvent base, and so they sit right on top of the paper so you can see them on dark colors. And I'm coloring in her shoes. And it's funny, when it dries, you can see here in the upper corner, that works really well with the color of the bow. So to finish this out, Susan on her original sketch had like stitching lines all encompassing her photos, and I thought those were brilliant. So I'm kind of using dots like you would see, I would think, in a mirror on a stage show for theater, but obviously they're lights, or that's what I'm trying to get to. So I did go ahead with a blue metallic marker and outline all of the photos, and now I'm just taking my gel pen after I added my journaling and kind of doing some highlights on Mickey and Minnie's ears. And that's it. This layout is done. I have another one ready for my album. There's a link below for all the gals that are playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life in October. There's also a link if you just want to see my Disney album. I created a separate playlist because I know sometimes people like to see that. Blessings.